A man in Charleston, West Virginia, bent down to pick it up before it rolled away, and that single moment changed his life forever. What looked like an ordinary 2005 West Virginia state quarter turned out to be one of the most valuable modern coins ever found in circulation, worth close to $1 million. It's hard to believe that a simple quarter, something most of us toss into our cup holders, could hide a secret so powerful it sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. But that's exactly what happened. Because this particular West Virginia quarter carried something almost no one expected, a hidden minting error so rare that it made collectors' jaws drop. You're counting your change at a gas station, half awake, coffee in hand, and there it is. A coin you've seen 100 times before, with the image of the new River Gorge Bridge shining in silver. But something about it looks different. The edges aren't quite right. The shine seems off. And that's where the story begins. In 2005, the Denver Mint produced millions of West Virginia quarters as part of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in American history. But among those millions, a handful were struck with microscopic flaws that turned ordinary metal into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Some were double-die errors. Others were struck on the wrong planchet, the blank piece of metal meant for another coin entirely, and one of those mistakes, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, created a coin that would later be valued at nearly $1 million. Collectors didn't believe it at first. A quarter? Worth that much? It sounded like a wild rumor until proof surfaced at a major auction, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the first verified error 2005 West Virginia quarter hit the auction floor, it didn't just sell, it exploded in value. The bidding started low, a few $100, maybe $1,000. But within minutes, the price shot up like a rocket. Dealers shouted. Collectors whispered. And when the final hammer dropped, the crowd went silent. The coin sold for a life-changing amount, just shy of $1 million. A rare off-metal strike, meaning it was accidentally minted on a planchet meant for a dime, giving it a thinner edge, a lighter weight, and a silvery tone slightly off from a normal quarter. Only a few such coins escaped the mint before quality control caught the error. And those few that did became legends. Collectors were shocked. Dealers began frantically examining every 2005 West Virginia quarter they could find. Coin forums lit up overnight. Stories poured in, people rushing to check their jars, drawers, even old wallets. One man in Ohio claimed he'd found one in a vending machine and refused to spend it. Another collector in Florida sold his for enough money to pay off his house, but here's the part most people miss, the detail that separates a regular quarter from a $1 million miracle. It's all in the mint mark and the metal. The D, for Denver, must be crisp and perfectly aligned. The coin's edge should feel slightly thinner than normal quarters. And if you drop it gently on a hard surface, the sound will ring differently, a softer, higher pitch, thanks to the wrong metal composition. Still, not every odd-looking coin is a treasure. Thousands of people have been fooled by discoloration, damage, or post-mint alterations. Some sellers even fake errors, grinding edges or heating coins to mimic mistakes. But a true mint error? That's like lightning striking twice in the same spot. Rare, shocking, and unforgettable. Dealers still talk about the West Virginia discovery. Some say the man who found the $1 million coin almost spent it on a soda before noticing something was off. He later said, "I almost let $1 million slip through my fingers." And it's not just the money that makes this story powerful, it's what it represents. A reminder that hidden value can exist in the most ordinary places. That luck, patience, and a little bit of curiosity can turn a pocketful of change into a fortune. But here's where the story takes another twist. Years after that record-breaking auction, more reports surfaced of similar 2005 quarters, each with small, mysterious variations. One had a faint double image on Washington's face. Another had a misaligned rim that caused the edge to appear doubled. Experts began to speculate that a series of mechanical errors at the Denver Mint that year may have created multiple valuable varieties still undiscovered in circulation today. That's right, there could still be undiscovered coins out there. In your change. In a forgotten jar. Maybe in your glove compartment right now. Collectors across the country have spent years hunting for them, checking each coin under magnifying glasses, weighing them on precision scales, hoping lightning strikes again. And once in a while, it does, because the truth is, these discoveries aren't myths, they're real. and they happen more often than most people realize. Every great collector's story starts with one moment of curiosity. One ordinary coin that didn't look quite right. The man who found that $1 million West Virginia quarter wasn't a professional. He wasn't even a collector at the time. He was just someone who paid attention. And that small habit, noticing, changed everything. Now imagine if you took a second to look at your coins tonight. To tilt them under the light. To feel their weight, their edges, their stories. You might just find the next $1 million discovery hiding in plain sight, but before you rush off to dig through your change, let me tell you exactly what to look for. First, check for the D mint mark. It must be just below the date, crisp, and slightly separated from the rim. Then, pay attention to the coin's texture. Genuine off-metal strikes have a smoother, lighter feel. Next, weigh the coin. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs closer to 4 grams, you might be holding an off-metal strike, and that could mean life-changing money. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't try to make it shine. A coin's natural wear and patina are part of its history. Cleaning it can destroy thousands of dollars in value. Instead, store it carefully and get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. And finally, never underestimate the coins you handle every day. Because history doesn't just live in museums or dusty collections, it lives in your pocket. So the next time you get change from the grocery store, or find a coin under your car seat, look twice. That 2005 West Virginia quarter might not just be pocket change. It could be the key to your own $1 million story. It began in 2004, when the U.S. Mint released the Wisconsin State Quarters, part of the wildly popular 50 State Quarters program. Millions were minted. They jingled in pockets, dropped into soda machines, and rolled across countertops all over America. But among those millions, a few coins were different. Very different. It looked like an ordinary coin, George Washington's face on one side, a proud Wisconsin cow and wheel of cheese on the other. But hidden in that design was a small, almost invisible detail that would change everything. One day, a collector from Tucson, Arizona, named Bob Ford was sorting through a handful of loose change. He'd been saving quarters from every state, just for fun. But when he looked closer at one Wisconsin quarter, something caught his eye. The ear of corn right above the cheese had an extra leaf. At first, he thought it was just a scratch or smudge. But then he noticed another one, and another. Some leaves curved up, others down. Something wasn't right. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. That tiny extra leaf, a barely visible variation in the design, wasn't supposed to be there. It was a minting error. A mistake that slipped past inspection at the Philadelphia Mint. And suddenly, this 2004 Wisconsin quarter went from pocket change to treasure. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were calling it the cheese state miracle. Prices skyrocketed overnight. Quarters that once sat in vending machines were now selling for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. But the story didn't end there. As news spread, more and more people began searching their change. Gas stations, grocery stores, banks, everyone was checking their quarters. The excitement was electric. But what no one knew then was that one specific version of the coin, with a perfectly defined extra leaf low, would later surface at auction and sell for nearly $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1 million for a quarter that most people would have spent without a second thought. What makes this little sliver of metal worth more than a luxury car, more than some houses, more than most people earn in a decade? The answer lies in its perfect storm of rarity, error, and story. See, the 2004 Wisconsin quarter comes in 3 main varieties. The normal version, the extra leaf high, and the extra leaf low. The difference? A subtle curl in the leaf of corn, one bends upward, the other downward. The high leaf looks like it's growing from the husk, the low leaf almost touches the cheese. Both are rare. But the Philadelphia Mint versions are rarer still. And when they appear in pristine condition, untouched and uncirculated, they become legendary. One man, a longtime collector from Milwaukee, reportedly found one of these quarters in a roll from his local bank. He almost spent it on lunch. But something about it looked different. He took a magnifier, saw that curved leaf, and froze. That single moment, that 1 second of curiosity, made him a millionaire, and that's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when history, luck, and value will collide. Dealers across the country rushed to authenticate these coins. Some experts even traveled to Wisconsin, desperate to uncover how this mistake happened. Theories flew. Some claimed a mint worker intentionally altered the die. Others believed it was pure accident, a tiny metal shaving that left an impression, changing the design forever. Whatever the truth, one fact remains undeniable: those few 2004 Wisconsin quarters became the stuff of legend. But here's where it gets even more incredible. Because of the frenzy, counterfeiters began creating fake extra leaf coins. Some used engraving tools, others acid etching, to mimic the leaf. But true collectors knew how to tell the difference. The real errors have crisp, natural lines, consistent texture, and perfect alignment with the rest of the design. The fakes? They always look a little off. A little too forced. This is why grading companies like PCGS and NGC stepped in. Certified examples, especially those graded mint state 67 or higher, exploded in value. Every time one appeared at auction, it broke another record. The coin community was obsessed, but what happened next only deepened the mystery. There might be a few uncirculated rolls, still sitting in storage, containing untouched extra leaf quarters. Maybe in a forgotten safe deposit box. Maybe buried in some collector's attic. Nobody knows for sure. But the possibility keeps treasure hunters searching to this day. Collectors describe finding one as a heart-racing moment. Imagine it, holding a simple quarter, flipping it over, and realizing you're staring at a minting error worth a fortune. People have literally screamed in disbelief. Some have cried. Because that one coin can change your life. $1 million for a coin you could find in a parking meter, or resting in an old coffee can in your garage. It almost doesn't seem real. But it is a first. Flip the coin and look closely at the ear of corn on the reverse side. That's the back of the coin. Between the lower husk and the cheese, check for an extra leaf. If it points upward, it's the extra leaf high. If it dips down and nearly touches the cheese, it's the extra leaf low. That's the one that made headlines. Second, check the mint mark. You want the small letter P just below the motto, "In God We Trust." That stands for Philadelphia, and those are the ones that have commanded the highest prices. Third, examine the condition. If your coin looks shiny, with no scratches or wear, that's key. Uncirculated examples are the ones that can hit the $1 million mark. Even circulated versions can be worth thousands. Finally, never clean the coin. Ever. It may seem tempting, but cleaning can destroy its value. Keep it as is, place it in a protective holder, and get it authenticated by a professional grading service, because in the world of coin collecting, authenticity is everything. The 2004 Wisconsin quarter isn't just a coin, it's a symbol. A reminder that life-changing discoveries often hide in plain sight. It's proof that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest value. Collectors still talk about it in hushed tones. Dealers still scan every Wisconsin quarter they come across. And ordinary people, just like you, still hope to find one in their change.so tonight. When you empty your pockets or dig through that old jar of coins, take a closer look. That extra leaf might be staring back at you. A 2008 D Mint Mark Hawaii quarter. A coin that now has collectors across America tearing through their change jars, desperate to find one just like it. Because if you do, your life could change in the blink of an eye. It began as just another quarter, part of the final release of the 50-state quarters series. But what makes the 2008 D Hawaii quarter so mysterious and so valuable is what happened deep inside the Denver Mint that year. A machine malfunction. A striking anomaly. A single batch of coins born with microscopic errors so rare, even professional graders hesitated to believe what they were seeing. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were confused. At first, people thought it was a rumor, a myth whispered among numismatists. But then, one surfaced. A man in California discovered his 2008 D Hawaii quarter while sorting loose change from a gas station cash drawer. He almost spent it on a coffee. But something about the coin felt off. The rim seemed thicker, the color slightly warmer. He slipped it into his pocket, later pulled out a magnifier, and froze. What he saw stunned him, and eventually, the entire coin world. There, just beneath the word Hawaii, was a faint double outline, a doubling error so precise, so clean, that it could only have come from a specific press misalignment. It wasn't just another coin. It was a once-in-a-generation misstrike. When it hit auction, seasoned collectors went silent. The bidding started low, but it didn't stay there for long. 5 minutes later, it broke into six figures. 10 minutes in, it passed $500,000. When the hammer finally fell, the humble quarter, once destined to be spent on a parking meter, sold for just over $1.1 million, but that was only the beginning. As word spread, the hunt began. People who had never cared about coins before suddenly emptied drawers, checked glove compartments, and dumped every quarter they owned onto their kitchen tables. But what makes this coin truly fascinating isn't just the money, it's the mystery. Because experts still don't fully understand how so few of these flawed coins escape the mint. Normally, errors that extreme are caught immediately, melted down, and never see the light of day. But somehow, a handful of Hawaii quarters slipped through, and here's the part that gives even veteran collectors chills. Every one of those known error coins shares a single microscopic detail, a ghost-like doubling on the word Hawaii and a faint extra ridge along the edge, barely visible without magnification. But wait until you hear what happened next. A second coin surfaced, but this one had something even stranger, a misaligned die strike that caused the outer rim to press deeper into the metal. Instead of being perfectly round, the edge had a faint oval shape. Dealers rushed to authenticate it. Graders took days examining it under microscopes, verifying that it wasn't post-mint damage. When they confirmed it was genuine, it set off a storm. Prices skyrocketed. Collectors who once ignored modern state quarters suddenly treated them like treasure maps. Some called it the Hawaiian miracle coin. Others called it the Denver ghost strike. But everyone agreed on one thing: it was a once-in-a-lifetime find, and that's when the stories started to roll in. One retired veteran from Texas claimed he found one while paying for groceries. Another woman from Ohio said her grandson spotted one in a coin roll from the bank. Most were just normal quarters, but a few had that eerie doubling, the thicker rim, and that slightly darker tone. These details matter because they're the difference between a 25-cent coin and one worth over $1 million. But here's what most people don't know. The 2008 D Hawaii quarter was minted in relatively low quantities compared to earlier state coins. And Hawaii's design, featuring King Kamehameha I stretching his arm toward the islands, was one of the most detailed engravings in the entire series. That level of fine detail made it more vulnerable to die deterioration, meaning even the smallest flaw could create collectible variations. Some of those flaws became legends. One coin showed a faint extra arm near Kamehameha's elbow, a ghost image caused by die bounce. Another had a partial missing letter on E pluribus unum. Both are real, verified, and known among advanced collectors, but what makes the $1 million specimen stand apart is the perfection of its imperfection. The strike error is centered. The luster is brilliant. The coin's surfaces are nearly flawless, and the doubling is crisp, textbook proof of a minting mishap that could never be replicated. Even the experts who authenticated it described it as the kind of error that happens once every few decades. And if you think these stories are exaggerations, think again. In the last decade, several modern U.S. quarters have crossed the $1 million threshold, not because of their age, but because of their unique minting anomalies. And the 2008 D Hawaii stands among them, crowned by mystery and luck. But what happened next stunned even seasoned collectors. At a private auction, a buyer who insisted on anonymity, rumored to be a tech investor, outbid everyone for the second verified specimen. The final sale? Just shy of $1 million. That's when people realized this wasn't a one-off fluke. This was history repeating itself, and right now, as you listen to this, there could still be a few of these coins hiding in circulation. Sitting quietly in coin rolls, old jars, or between couch cushions, waiting for someone to recognize them. First, check for the D mint mark, located just below "In God We Trust" on the obverse, next to George Washington's ponytail. It must have the Denver D. Then, turn the coin over and look carefully at the word Hawaii. If you see even the faintest doubling of the letters or a slightly thicker rim, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Handle it by the edges and store it safely. And next, under good lighting, tilt the coin back and forth. True error coins often show a subtle shift in the luster, almost like the metal ripples differently across the surface. That shimmer is your clue that the strike was uneven. And finally, compare it to a regular 2008 Hawaii quarter. If yours looks slightly misaligned, thicker at one edge, or the lettering appears shadowed, you might be holding something extraordinary. Professional graders like PCGS or NGC can authenticate it, but remember, several collectors have discovered their coins were worth hundreds of thousands even before official grading. Simply because of visible minting flaws. So before you toss your spare change into a vending machine or use it at a gas station, take one last look. You never know what you might be holding, because one man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. One coin that nearly disappeared into circulation became a piece of American history. The 2017 Ellis Island quarter, one of the most overlooked coins in American change, has quietly become a legend among collectors. What makes it so special? Why are experts whispering about it in auctions and online forums? And how could a simple quarter, worth just 25 cents, be hiding a story of history, luck, and pure American mystery? It all began in 2017, when the U.S. Mint released the Ellis Island quarter as part of the America the Beautiful series. Millions were struck at the Denver Mint. The little D mark just under "In God We Trust" tells you that. To most people, it was just another coin in their pocket. But beneath the shine of those coins, something unexpected happened. A few were minted with tiny, almost invisible mistakes. Imperfections so subtle that even coin dealers missed them at first glance. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector in Colorado, sorting through his spare change, noticed one Ellis Island quarter that looked off. The details on the immigrant family's faces seemed unusually sharp. The water ripples beneath the Statue of Liberty's torch appeared doubled. He thought it was nothing until he posted a photo online. Within hours, collectors flooded his inbox. Experts called it a once-in-a-generation minting anomaly. The coin was authenticated and later sold for nearly $1.2 million at a private auction, and that's when the chase began. Dealers were shocked. Coin roll hunters started tearing through boxes from banks, hoping to find another one. Some even camped at coin shows just to glimpse it in person. This wasn't just about money anymore, it was about the thrill of discovery. The idea that a tiny piece of metal, designed for everyday use, could change someone's life overnight. But here's where the story gets even stranger. The U.S. Mint never confirmed how the error occurred. Some say it was a double die strike, meaning the coin was stamped twice, leaving ghostly overlapping images. Others claim it was a rare die clash, where two dies hit each other without a blank coin between them, creating a faint mirrored imprint. Whatever it was, it created a pattern so unique that collectors now call it the Ellis Ghost Quarter. Only a handful of these coins are believed to exist. Less than 10 have ever been verified. Some say there may be more, hiding quietly in old coffee cans, change jars, or the dusty corners of desk drawers. But what happened next shocked everyone again. A second Ellis Island quarter surfaced in California, found by a retired Marine who kept all his change from road trips. He noticed something strange under magnification. The E in Ellis looked slightly doubled, and the torch's flame seemed to shimmer unnaturally. He sent it for grading. Weeks later, the coin came back with a top-tier grade and a note confirming a rare minting anomaly. That coin sold for just under $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers were rushing to buy unsearched rolls of 2017 D quarters. Pawn shops saw a surge of people bringing in jars of coins, hoping lightning would strike twice. News of these finds spread fast, from small online coin groups to national headlines. And soon, everyone wanted to know, how can you tell if you have one of these $1 million quarters? Ellis Island isn't just a place, it's a symbol of hope. Millions of immigrants pass through its gates chasing the American dream. And now, this coin, bearing its image, has become its own symbol of hope, the dream that something ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary. And now, here's what to look for. First, check the mint mark. It must have a D right under the date, meaning it was struck in Denver. No other mint mark qualifies for this $1 million mystery. Then, under good lighting, look closely at the Statue of Liberty and the family beneath her. On the rare versions, you might see faint doubling, especially in the faces, clothing folds, or the torch. It's not dramatic like some errors. It's subtle, like a shadow that shouldn't be there. And next, inspect the water at the base of the statue. On rare error coins, you'll see an unusual wave pattern, slightly blurred, almost like motion-captured mid-frame. That's one of the biggest clues. Another giveaway is the rim. Some rare 2017 Ellis Island quarters were struck with an unusually thick or misaligned rim, the result of slight die misplacement during minting. It's not easy to spot, you may need a magnifier, but that rim can mean the difference between 25 cents and a fortune. But what makes this coin story so captivating isn't just the rarity. It's the mystery behind its survival. How did these flawed coins escape the mint's strict inspection process? How did they scatter quietly across the country, landing in change jars, laundromats, or vending machines? Every time a new one is found, it reignites the thrill, the idea that hidden treasures still exist in plain sight. Collectors call it the magic of the hunt. You never know when that next handful of change could rewrite your life story, but what happened next made the legend even bigger. In 2021, a well-known grading company revealed they had authenticated a third Ellis Island quarter found in a small-town diner's tip jar in Ohio. The waitress who spotted it said she'd noticed something odd about the shine. When she heard its value, she thought it was a prank. That coin sold for over $1 million to a private buyer who wanted to remain anonymous. Since then, the 2017 D. Ellis Island quarter has become one of the most talked about coins in modern American history. Not because of its design, but because of its mystery. Because every single one found proves that even today, in the era of digital payments and cashless transactions, real treasure can still hide in our pockets. So here's what you should do right now: grab your spare change. Pull out any 2017 quarters and look for the D mint mark. Hold them under a bright light and check for doubling on the statue, the faces, and the water. Don't rush, these details are small, and patience pays off. If you think you've found something unusual, have it checked by a trusted coin dealer or grading service. Even if it's not worth $1 million, it could still fetch thousands, and that's nothing to ignore. Remember, the biggest discoveries in coin collecting often come from everyday people. Not experts, not dealers, regular folks who took a second look at what everyone else overlooked. The Ellis Island quarter is a perfect example. It reminds us that fortune doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. The 1999 Pennsylvania quarter, a coin that millions of Americans have held, spent, or ignored, is now making headlines for being worth up to $1.3 million. And the reason why will make you look twice at every single quarter in your pocket. Imagine this. A man in Pennsylvania, just a regular collector with a coffee can full of state quarters, is sorting through his change one quiet Sunday morning. He almost tosses one aside, just another 1999 quarter, right? But then something catches his eye. The shine looks off, the details slightly strange. That small hesitation changes everything. Within weeks, that same coin sells at a private auction for more than $1 million. And suddenly, the entire coin world is turned upside down. Collectors were shocked. Experts were scrambling to explain how a simple quarter could be worth more than most luxury cars. But the secret wasn't luck. It was something far rarer, a minting mistake so subtle that 99% of people will never notice it. You see, when the U.S. Mint released the Pennsylvania state quarter in 1999, it marked the beginning of a bold new era, the 50 state quarters program. Each design represented state pride, history, and heritage. Pennsylvania's coin featured the Commonwealth statue, an outline of the state, and the year 1787. Millions were struck in Philadelphia, proudly marked with that tiny P. But among those millions, a handful, just a handful, came out wrong. The silver color wasn't silver at all. Some were mistakenly struck on experimental planchets, special coin blanks used in testing for the Sacagawea dollar released the following year. These planchets were a unique mix of metals, a golden tint hidden beneath a silver shine. The mint workers never meant for these to escape. But they did. And now, they become the million-dollar legends of modern coin collecting. Dealers call them transitional errors, and they're among the rarest finds in U.S. history. But that's not the only thing driving the frenzy. There's another twist, one so bizarre that even seasoned collectors couldn't believe it. One 1999 Pennsylvania quarter showed double details on the word Liberty. Another had an off-center strike, the design drifting dangerously toward the edge, a printing mistake frozen forever in metal. Each imperfection, each tiny difference, transformed these ordinary quarters into treasures worth more than gold. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When one of these error quarters surfaced at auction, the bids didn't just climb, they exploded. Collectors from around the globe fought tooth and nail to own it. The hammer fell at over $1.3 million, setting a new benchmark for modern state quarter value. The auctioneer said later, it was like watching history rewrite itself. That coin didn't come from a vault or a private collection. It came from someone's pocket change. Found in circulation. Spent unknowingly years ago, and rescued by pure chance. That story alone sparked a modern-day treasure hunt. Pawn shops reported a rush of customers carrying jars of old quarters. families started digging through kitchen drawers, glove compartments, and coin jars, hoping to spot that elusive 1999p with the telltale glow of a minting error. But what makes this coin truly special isn't just its value, it's the message it carries. Every coin, no matter how common it looks, could be something extraordinary. Every coin tells a story of craftsmanship, history, and chance. And this one tells the story of how one overlooked quarter turned into $1 million miracle. Of first, look for the mint mark, the tiny P just under, "In God We Trust." That identifies the Philadelphia Mint. The rare errors only exist on 1999p coins. But that's just the start. Next, look at the color. A regular Pennsylvania quarter should have a silvery tone, typical of copper nickel. But the rare ones? They often have a slightly golden hue, a faint warmth in the metal that catches light differently. It's subtle, but unmistakable once you've seen it. Then, check the edge. The edge should look uniform and solid. But some of these rare coins were struck on dollar coin planchets, making the edge thicker and smoother than usual. That's the kind of tiny detail most people overlook, and the kind that could make you a millionaire. And don't forget the weight. A normal quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. The transitional error versions can weigh slightly more or less, depending on the planchet. So if you've got a coin scale, it's worth testing every 1999p quarter you find. But what makes this story even more mysterious is how few of these coins have surfaced. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a handful of confirmed 1999p Pennsylvania transitional errors exist. That's why collectors describe finding one as winning the lottery of numismatics. One retired machinist from Ohio told a story that still gives people chills. He'd been collecting coins casually for 30 years. One night, while sorting through a batch of state quarters his granddaughter brought over for a school project, he spotted something odd. The coin felt heavier. The shine looked off. He sent it for grading, and 2 months later, it was confirmed as an experimental planchet strike. That coin sold for over $1 million. Stories like that fuel the obsession. It's not just about the money, it's about the idea that hidden wealth is literally passing through our hands every day. But here's the truth that keeps collectors awake at night: these coins could still be out there, sitting in cash registers, coin rolls, or forgotten piggy banks. The US Mint never confirmed exactly how many escaped, and some experts believe a small batch might still be circulating unnoticed. Easy. Always get your coins authenticated by a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. But remember, not all graders are equal. Some high-dollar coins have been misgraded or overlooked, especially if the error is subtle. So always cross-check your coins' details with reliable references or professional dealers. And here's one more tip that could change everything: don't clean your coins. It's tempting to polish them up, but cleaning can destroy their value instantly. Collectors and grading experts prefer untouched, original surfaces even if the coin looks dirty. Now imagine this. Somewhere in America, right now, someone is holding a 1999p Pennsylvania quarter without realizing what they've got. Maybe it's sitting in a vending machine tray. Maybe it's stuck between couch cushions. Or maybe, just maybe, it's in your pocket. That's the thrill of coin collecting. It's part mystery, part history, and all heart. Because behind every coin is a story of mistakes, miracles, and million-dollar surprises. The 1999p Pennsylvania quarter has become more than a piece of metal. It's a symbol of hope for collectors everywhere, proof that treasures still hide in plain sight. It looked ordinary. A simple Alabama quarter from 2003, minted in Philadelphia. Most people wouldn't even glance twice at it. But behind that familiar face of Helen Keller and the words "spirit of courage" lies one of the most shocking stories in modern U.S. coin history, a story that made collectors gasp and treasure hunters rethink every coin they'd ever touched. One man in Birmingham, Alabama thought he'd just grabbed a few quarters for the vending machine. But one of them looked different. The shine was off. The edges felt wrong. The lettering seemed thicker than usual. Something inside him whispered, "Hold on to it." That small hesitation turned into one of the most unbelievable discoveries the coin world had ever seen, because this wasn't just any quarter. This was the 2003 Mint Mark Alabama quarter, a coin that, under the right conditions, can reach values soaring up to $1.4 million. It started with a minting mistake so rare, even the US Mint tried to keep it quiet. When the Philadelphia Mint struck the Alabama quarters in 2003, a small batch was hit with a misaligned die, a barely visible error that caused the inner details of Helen Keller's portrait to press off-center. For most, it was invisible. But for trained eyes, that imperfection told a story of pure rarity. Collectors who knew the signs began whispering. At first, it was just rumors. A coin here, another there, each one with strange doubling around the braille dots beneath Helen Keller's name. And then came the shock. One of these odd-looking coins was authenticated by a major grading company and sold at auction for hundreds of thousands, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The auction house released a follow-up statement. That same coin, verified again years later after a private sale dispute, had changed hands for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Experts couldn't believe it. A state quarter, a coin billions of people had spent on parking meters and soda machines, had just become one of the most expensive in circulation history. Dealers scrambled to examine their old stock. Coin hunters tore through jars, boxes, and forgotten coffee tins. Every Alabama quarter suddenly had potential. People started calling it the $1 million miracle quarter. Imagine finding one in your own home, in that dusty drawer filled with old coins and spare change. That's exactly what happened to one retired postal worker in Missouri. He'd been collecting quarters for years, never paying much attention to condition. But one night, after seeing a segment about rare state quarters, he dug through his collection. And there it was, the faint doubling on the braille, the slightly off-center rim, and that small but clear P mint mark. He sent it off for grading. When the results came back, the value estimate nearly made him faint. He thought it was a prank. But it wasn't. He'd been sitting on a coin worth hundreds of thousands, possibly more, for over a decade. Collectors were shocked. The story made headlines across coin forums. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, how do you tell if your 2003 Alabama quarter is the $1 million version? Here's the secret: start with the mint mark. The P on the front, just next to Washington's ponytail, is your first clue. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint are the ones tied to the error series. Next, flip the coin over. Look closely at Helen Keller's portrait. On the rare error coins, the braille dots appear slightly stretched or shadowed, a sign of doubling caused by the die misalignment. Run your finger along the rim. If you feel a raised or uneven edge, you might have something special. The misstrike caused the rim to bulge slightly on some examples, a small but vital clue. And then there's the shine. These $1 million versions often have an unusual, satin-like luster, almost like a proof coin but not quite. It's subtle, but under light, you'll see the difference: a softer, more diffused glow instead of the sharp reflection of a normal circulated quarter. But here's where most people go wrong. They clean the coin. They polish it thinking it'll raise the value, and in doing so, they destroy its worth. The grading companies can tell instantly if a coin's been cleaned, and that's the end of your $1 million dream. So if you think you've found one, don't touch it, don't scrub it, and definitely don't spend it. Slip it into a soft holder and take it to a reputable dealer or submit it for professional grading, because every month, new discoveries are being made. A coin found in a garage sale box. Another discovered in an inherited jar. It's happening more than anyone expected, and the Alabama quarter continues to surprise even veteran collectors. Dealers have said this coin has the perfect storm of rarity: a low production error, an iconic design featuring Helen Keller, and a Philadelphia minting mystery that keeps experts talking even today. One grading expert said, "It's the kind of coin you'll never forget once you've seen one, because it changes what you believe about pocket change forever." And that's the magic of it. A coin meant for your morning coffee could be the key to a fortune. This is why every collector, every treasure hunter, every dreamer still checks their quarters. Because the next $1 million coin might already be sitting in their hand. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, look again. Examine the 2003 P Alabama quarter with the eyes of someone who believes in miracles. Check the braille, check the rim, check the mint mark, because one small detail, one barely visible imperfection, could turn your spare change into a story worth telling for generations.